Well, in recent seasons, when the non-conference schedule has been announced for Trinity, this is the game that they circle. This is the one that they look to against the ASC champion Hardin-Simmons University Cowgirls. 15 straight ASC titles for Coach Marcus Wood and the Cowgirls. Trinity on the other side, of course, dominant in the SCAC, have won 11 out of the last 12. This really is the marquee matchup in terms of Division III women's soccer in Texas. And we'll get a look at what these two teams have to offer early in their seasons. Both teams coming in 1-0 with a victory on Friday. And, of course, Trinity still without head coach Dylan Harrison, who's out for COVID protocols. So Coach Valdespino announced the starting 11 is the exact same that started against McMurray on Friday. First up, though, we'll take you through the Hardin-Simmons lineup. It's Haley Foley in between the sticks, the junior goalkeeper out of Prosper, Texas. Jenna Kirk, Madeline Dowell, Hayden Aber, Michaela Sabersula, Caroline Poole, Mackenzie Moreno, Randy Dennison, Mercy Mummert, Aurora Arevalo, Kaylee Maddox, and Rachel Bean. For Trinity, Joey Finley in between the sticks, Kira Stafford, Bailey Meyer, and Ashlyn Zingelman make up the back three. On the wings, it's Madison Horner and Elena Wickham, a midfield three of Cameron Beal, Cece Hendricks, and Alex Walsh, leading the line, Katie Ward and Molly Sheridan. Trinity out in formation and ready to go. Looks like the Cowgirls will take one final huddle out on the field. This game may be rather inconsequential in terms of any conference ramifications, with the two teams competing out of the SCAC for Trinity and the ASC for Hardin-Simmons, but it's very important for regional ranking and for who may host that NCAA tournament game should it happen at the end of this season. Last time these two teams met was in the NCAA tournament when Trinity took it. Hardin-Simmons looking for revenge a couple years later. And they kick us off. We're underway here as Mummert immediately looks for the diagonal, intercepted by Horner, who can't keep it under control. We expect high energy approach from both teams, especially in the opening minutes. As Hendricks gets a foot in, and Trinity have their first bit of possession here. Stafford down the line for Horner, leaves that pass behind Beal. And Stafford's gonna have to turn and chase here. Sarasula beats her to it in the corner. Quick feet to get away from Kira Stafford. Horner blocks the cross. Wickham lays it off for Beal, who slips on the ball, recovers, drops it off for Meyer. Zingelman wanted the ball forward towards Ward, and Katie Ward using her strength to win it back, even though it was momentarily with Madeline Dowell. Horner down the line for Sheridan to chase. Ward also in pursuit. It's dropped back to the goalkeeper, but she's made a mistake, and this one's going to roll into the back of the net. It's the stuff of nightmares for the Cowgirls. And Trinity lead here on a freak accident. A Jenna Kirk own goal. Looked like she wasn't aware that Foley was coming off her line. And that might be the worst possible start for Coach Marcus Wood and the Cowgirls. The only positive that you can take from that is that there's still 88 minutes to be played in this game. The HSU bench a little bit stunned down to my left. And Trinity gifted an early advantage. Wickham late to that one, commits the foul. Trinity not a team that you want to give an early advantage to. They come into this game ranked number 21 in the nation. In that same poll, Hardin-Simmons receiving votes, but not quite in the top 25. But 15 straight ASC titles speak for themselves. came close as the University of Texas Dallas Comets pushed them all the way in the final, but ultimately the Cowgirls prevailed on penalties off the back of their All-American goalkeeper, Kayla Gable, who graduated and moved on, leaving Haley Foley the #1 shirt. Ball into the feet of Molly Sheridan. Looked to turn and said we'll just go back to Shepard in the midfield for Hendricks, who's got Aravallo on her back. Beal goes to ground to clean it up, and Zingelman puts it into the channel for Ward to chase. Jenna Kirk had a pretty substantial head start, but under pressure from Katie Ward, she'll just put it out for a throw. If you missed the opening game for Trinity on Friday, this will be your first look at Ashlyn Zingelman, the transfer from the University of North Texas. The only new face out there from the start for Trinity once again today. As Beal looks for the entry ball into Katie Ward. Repelled, but now Stafford brings it into the attack, cuts back, wants to get onto her left foot if she can. Lifts one in off the head of Sheridan. Both teams dealing with the shadows starting to settle over the Hardin-Simmons penalty area. But eventually the Cowgirls get it clear. Shot from distance now for Horner. And nearly spilled by the goalkeeper, who perhaps was still lacking confidence. It was a great effort from Madison Horner. Cutting on to a less favored left foot, but still getting it into the top corner with plenty of power and asking questions of Haley Foley, the Prosper, Texas native. In the end, she did well to hold the shot. It's back with Horner on the far side, just over the halfway line. Throw goes in the direction of the white jerseys wearing with purple trim and purple numbers. Trinity wearing the black with white trim and white numbers. Got to be hot out there for the Trinity team. Stafford forced to go all the way back to Finley. It's currently 101 here in San Antonio. We'll certainly have hydration breaks halfway through each half. Thank you for spending your Sunday of Labor Day weekend with us here on the Tiger Network. And if you're a fan of D3 soccer, there's really no place you'd rather be. Two perennial contenders out of the West region facing off here in the early season. And if you missed the opening couple minutes, it's Trinity who have the advantage on a freak own goal from Jenna Kirk. Sheridan brings it out of the sky, lays it back for Beal. Comes off the left foot of Beal now for Stafford. Lifts it into the channel for Alex Walsh to chase. Walsh set up the Tigers' first goal of the season against McMurray. Couldn't get on the end of this one. Foley taking her time here, thinking about playing short, but ultimately sending her team up the field. Cameron Beal wins the header from the goal kick, as we're so used to seeing here on the Tiger Network. Puts it out for Ward on the far side, who wins a throw. Deep in Cowgirl territory here. Sheridan able to turn and lay one across. Again, a miscue for Kirk. Her teammates able to bail that one out. It's been a rough start to the game for the junior from Trophy Club, Texas. almost exclusively Texas hometowns listed on the Hardin-Simmons roster. The only one that's immediately popping out. There's a New Mexico for Mercy Mummert. And I saw one Colorado as well preparing for this game. Winter Park, Colorado for Taylor Ellert. Starts on the bench today. Trinity, just in their 2 strikers alone, have Phoenix, Arizona for Katie Ward and St. Louis, Missouri for Molly Sheridan. Walsh behind them hails from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Coach Harrison likes to spread his recruiting reach all around the Southwest United States. Stafford caught on the ball. Meyer across to deal with it. And it'll stay in play for Bailey Meyer, who sends it down the line right to the foot of Molly Sheridan. Knocks it past her defender and has the pace to get to it. 2 in the attack alongside her. She looked for the ball into Katie Ward, who made a different run. And the attack is gone for now. Sabrasula up against Madison Horner on the far side, and Horner commits a foul. Not a call that she liked. The majority of this Trinity roster would have been in Abilene when Trinity beat Hardin-Simmons for the 2nd time in 2019, and moving on in the NCAA tournament with a 2-0 win. Alex Walsh herself scored a goal in that game. Kristen Canepa, the All-American that season, had the insurance goal. This one's sent in deep into the area. Looks like it'll be kept in play by Madeline Dowell, sent back across. Repelled by the Tigers. It's back with Dowell, who's offside. Canepa had 3 goals against Hardin-Simmons that year. The center back, I believe, scored 1 penalty and a couple of headers as well. But that bucked the trend. Prior to that, Hardin-Simmons had won 3 in a row against Trinity, including a couple of big NCAA tournament games. It's gone back and forth between these two over the years, and the games are usually of a pretty high consequence. Ward able to win that back, finds Alex Walsh. Turns out of pressure, finds the feet of Hendricks. Meyer moves it just quick enough for Stafford. Stafford goes looking for the exchange with Horner. Comes to the feet of Walsh, laid off for Hendricks. Experienced senior class in midfield, all 3 of them. This is a good ball from Zingelman. Now for Hendricks! And she rattles the bar. Now a chance for Wickham on the follow-up. And we're headed to the spot. Chaos ensuing after CeCe Hendricks struck the bar. Fingertips on it for Haley Foley. And then a fatal mistake in the back line as Wickham is brought down. And it's going to be Hendricks herself to take. 1 for 1 from the penalty spot in her Trinity career. And she sticks it in the side netting. A dream start for Trinity here as they lead 2-0 over Hardin-Simmons. Hendricks got a chance to test her range in the build-up to the penalty, hitting the bar from much further out. Made no mistake from 12 yards. So just opening it up, and again, fingertips on it for Haley Foley, but not enough to keep it out. And HSU need to regroup. Madeline Dowell dribbles away from the kickoff. Senior midfielder from Plano, Texas, in her 5th year now at Hardin-Simmons. She's a first-team all-conference midfielder last full season for HSU in 2019. Both of these teams playing a conference-only schedule last year, including a conference tournament, as Walsh leaves that pass behind Cameron Beal. Walsh thought she maybe had jumped the passing lane, but the Cowgirls play around. Dowell way too much on that one. This one dropped off to Trinity goalkeeper Joey Finley. Tries to go short to Zingelman. That pass wasn't on, so Zingelman lets it roll through, out for a throw. Mercy Murmur to take the throw, and now it's sent in. It's a good ball across, defended by Beal. And the chance is on now for Katie Ward, who's in the channel. And wanted the ball through from Sheridan, it never came. So the Tigers come forward now with more numbers in the attack. Wickham coming infield off the left side, looks for the diagonal. Madison Horner's made the run, she's brought it under control. She's cut on her left foot, has another go. And ends up closer to the corner flag than the goal as it's kept in play by Wickham. Maybe that was what Horner was going for. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Zingelman from distance gets under it. That shows you the confidence that Trinity's playing with at the moment. An early mistake from Hardin-Simmons, giving Trinity the lead on an own goal. And another mistake sent Cece Hendricks to the penalty spot, where she doubled the advantage. That one clears Cameron Beal, who was at full stretch, but it's controlled by Hendricks. It's had a great start to this game, not just the goal, but some controlling play in midfield. Here she comes across again, but quick feet from Maddox until she runs into Trinity's number 15, Cameron Beal. Zingelman gets her head up, immediately looking to serve it in for Molly Sheridan. Hardin-Simmons can regain possession. And Meyer drops it back to Finley. Sophomore goalie out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Meyer wide for Stafford, playing a different position this season. Last year, more of an attacking player, and we got to see her in that role for 5 or so minutes on Friday, after really the business was done on the defensive end, and the score set at 3-0. Goals from Molly Sheridan, Michaela Bosco, and Emily Hayes in the Tiger opener. Hardin-Simmons took their game over one of Trinity's SCAC opponents, University of St. Thomas, 5-1. Goals from Kirk, who got 2, Mummert, Thompson, and Dennison. It's a great start to the year for the Cowgirls. And after the recent coming together with Zingelman, Kaylee Maddox going to have to come out of this game, the sophomore out of Lubbock. It's like she either got head-to-head contact or maybe poked in the eye. She's replaced by Aber, who I think I mistakenly included in the starting 11. Zingelman now receives it back from Ward. Wickham applying the pressure. It's dropped off to Mummert, who sends it down the line. Beal there to defend it. Wickham with a loose ball into midfield. She gives possession back to the Cowgirls. Dowell, the ball over the top for Aber, who's off the bench and now chance to serve it in. Zingelman, though, showed her pace to get back and recover, putting it out for an HSU throw. Just 15 minutes gone here in San Antonio, and it's gone as well as Coach Harrison watching from home and Coach Valdespino from the sideline today could have ever hoped. HSU looking to cut into the lead, arriving at the top of the box. It's a great strike from Mackenzie Moreno, blocked by Meyer. In the absence of Coach Harrison, Coach Edward Carty, the assistant for the men's team, helping out on the sideline for Trinity. Doing double duty today as this one's put across, and there it is, the lead cut in half. Looked like Hayden Aber we get a look at the replay. It's from a throw-in. Meyer gets turned and Aber beats Zingelman to it. Nothing for Joey Finley to do. And all of a sudden, momentum is back with Hardin-Simmons. And the final goal scorer from Friday's game will now check into the game for substitution for Trinity. It's Emily Hayes for Elena Wickham. We'll take a break, having won the penalty that led to what's now the go-ahead goal for the Tigers. See what they have in response, conceding their first goal of the season.
Goal for the Cowgirls, number 4, Hayden Aber.
Katie Ward, a beautiful flick in behind. Can Hendricks track it down? No, it's just too close to the goalkeeper. Foley was quick off her line. It's a really inventive piece of skill from Katie Ward. It's not a run we'd always see Cece Hendricks make in years past, but I think she's grown with confidence, not only scoring in today's game, but the bigger role in proceedings this year. She's been a lock starter in the first 2 games. She scored some big goals in her Trinity career, as well as one in the NCAA tournament before. Conversation here between Haley Foley and the training staff. Wonder if she'll have to come out of the game here. I'm not sure exactly what the issue is, but it looks like the reserve goalkeeper is getting ready. He's got number 00 on the uniform. The roster I have only has the number 0, so we'll try and confirm who it will be coming out of what is now the hydration break. It's been an action-packed start to this game. I'll take a quick break as it's Trinity 2, Hardin-Simmons 1 on the Tiger Network. So it looks like the concern was for Haley Foley and a potential head injury. She's now met with the trainer and been checked. She's back in the game. Split time, as I mentioned, with an All-American goalkeeper last year in Kayla Gable. Graduated playing 27 games and giving up only 3 goals across a couple of seasons as the starter. Sheridan puts this one in behind for Ward. Flag goes up this time as the 2 Trinity strikers look to combine. And I think the key, at least from what I heard, was talking to, as that looked pretty clearly onside. I don't think Ward was getting to it anyway. Missed call from the linesman on the far side. As they wanted Alex Walsh getting closer to the strikers, getting more involved as she was on that play. She receives it here from Ward. Drops it off for Beal. Horner, all the way back to Meyer. And in midfield for Hendricks. She receives it with Moreno on her back. And Zingelman launches it in. Good touch from Dennison, another space ahead of Abar. Zingelman's back and makes a good sliding tackle, putting it out for a throw in front of the Trinity bench. And they'll say last touch off Abar. As Zingelman took the throw, his last touch off Walsh. Mercy Mummert sends it in and arrives at the feet of Walsh. Turns away and finds Meyer. Pressure coming from Dennison. Miscue at the back for Stafford. Finley off her line. Makes a couple of challenges and eventually grabs the ball. Good work from Joey Finley. Not the first time we've seen a back pass go awry today. It ended up in the back of the Hardin-Simmons goal. In the opening couple of minutes, this time Finley was able to recover the ball after Stafford made the mistake. Zingelman and Abar in another foot race. And Trinity get the throw on this occasion. Zingelman looking a little bit gassed. It's been 3 or 4 straight sprinting races with Hayden Abar. Here's Hayes, defender on her back. Can't find a teammate. Beal wins it back and drops it off for Meyer. Meyer goes direct towards Katie Ward. Can't flick it on. It's a big header from Rachel Bean. Rachel Bean, 5th-year senior out of Frisco, Texas. She was a first-team All-Region selection in the abbreviated campaign last year. Here is Bean on the ball. Sends it forward off her left foot. Controlled by Poole. Last touch off Trinity, and Hardin-Simmons will make a change. Emma Thompson coming into the game. And Randy Dennison coming out. Dennison's best season for Hardin-Simmons came back in 2018-19. She was first team All-ASC with 11 goals and 1 assist. A little frustrated coming to the bench on this occasion. Hardin-Simmons have a free kick 10 yards into the Trinity half. Looks like it'll be closer actually. As they walk it up the field now, probably 40 yards from the Trinity goal. One hand raised and it's sent into the area. Header won by Bailey Meyer. Walsh surrounded by 3 Hardin-Simmons defenders, just sends it down the field for Katie Ward. Zingelman, pressure from Abar, finds the ball to the feet of Walsh, but goes underneath her outstretched right leg. Stafford with strong defensive action to win it back, but it's just sloppy from both teams at the moment. Quite a few misplaced passes. As Moreno sends it down the line for Abar. First involvement for Thompson. Just put over the top. For Sabrasula to chase. Protest that it already went out of play. Not granted by the official. Trinity have to work it clear. A shot from distance is blocked by Meyer. Stowell settles it. Swings it wide. Stafford launches it clear. Header won by Bean. Now space opening up on the right side. As Abar couldn't turn away from the attentions of Zingelman. Two different formations on display today, with Hardin-Simmons going with a 4-3-3 and Trinity going with the formation they've really perfected over the last 2 seasons, a 3-5-2. So much attacking talent on the roster. I think Coach Harrison wanted to find a way to work in everybody. 3 changes coming for the Tigers. As Taylor Campbell takes the place of Madison Horner on the far side. Number 34, Cassie Bowers, takes the place of Alex Walsh. And Meredith McAllister in for Cece Hendricks. All rotations we saw on Friday night as well. Cameron Beal keeps her place for the moment. Taylor Campbell takes the throw, and she's going to do it again here. Played with Gabby Avilas, who's on the HSU roster. Not on the field at the moment. She's on the bench. As Trinity send this one in. Emily Hayes will give chase. Strong play there from Meredith McAllister, the first year out of Norman, Oklahoma. There's Campbell coming in field, finding Zingelman. Ball looking for Bowers. Eventually finds her off the head of McAllister. Wide now for Hayes. Under hits the ball, but it still arrives at the feet of Beal. Spread wide now for Campbell. Will take the shot, and it's held by Haley Foley. Ended up right at the goalkeeper. Trinity did well, though, to work the space for the first-year winger just on the field. Take the shot. Two changes now for Hardin-Simmons. And those will come out of the water break as the clock is stopped for the teams to take a quick breather and get fluids on board. We'll be right back. You're watching Trinity and Hardin-Simmons on the Tiger Network. So the 2 subs for Hardin-Simmons coming out of the water break, Addison Ramirez, as well as Jessica Baldino. Baldino, the junior out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Ball in the hands of Mercy Mummert at the moment. She takes the throw. Thompson looking to turn. And it's going to be a Trinity throw. Hardin-Simmons thought they had it. Chance for a couple of changes.
And for the Tigers, go number 23, Teddy Del Preti. Number 27, Michaela Roscoe.
As you probably heard, it's Del Preti and Bosco, the 2 young attacking players who really impressed off the bench, combining for Trinity's 2nd goal. Bosco getting a goal and assist on her debut. Del Preti drops it all the way back to Stafford. Stafford into the channel. Bosco with a strong touch just to bring McAllister into the attack. It's out for a Trinity throw in front of the traveling Hardin-Simmons support. Good number of Cowgirls fans making the trip down to San Antonio. For both teams, I think they really look forward to this because it's one of their most competitive games. As I mentioned, the dominance in conference play is pretty universal between these two. Trinity on a decade-plus win streak in SCAC play and have won 11 out of the last 12 conference championships in the postseason. And Hardin-Simmons have won 15 straight, led by the current coaching staff of the year nationally, Coach Wood and his many assistants. And we're honored as the West Regional Coaching Staff of the Year, and then in turn the National Coaching Staff of the Year for 2020-2021. Career record of 373, 40, and 31 is good for 2nd among active Division III coaches on winning percentage behind the Messiah head coach, and 3rd all time. As Trinity now looking to add a 3rd goal. It's into the penalty area for Del Preti. Big coming together between her and Baldino. Good sign of sportsmanship from there. Del Preti helps Baldino to her feet. See big collision there. Shot from distance, coming from Kira Stafford. Haley Foley holds it once again. She's back to full confidence after the early miscommunication with Jenna Kirk cost their team a goal. We're 30 minutes into the game. All the scoring came in the opening 15 as Trinity went out to an early 2-0 lead before Hayden Abar got one back. Stafford looking for the feet of Bosco. Won't reach her, but Cameron Beal disruptive as ever in midfield. Hayes uses their strength well, and McAllister works it down the line. Del Preti will give chase and looks to get around the defender. And last touch off the sophomore striker for Trinity.
And for the Cowgirls, number 7,
Caroline Burrow now replaces Saber Sula. Head straight over to take a seat. It is hot out there. Over 100 degrees. Good word in my ear from the producer, Josh Matsugemba, reminding me Trinity finished #1 in the national poll at the end of last season. Of course, not everyone playing. A lot of the California schools not involved. As a shot comes in from Bosco. After the dominance that the Tigers showed in their run to another SCAC title, which included 17 goals across the 3 tournament games. I think the nation took notice. Of course, with a lot of schools returning seniors and bringing in new recruits all at once, it's going to be a very muddled group of teams at the top to start the season. As Beal slipped that one in behind for Campbell. Stafford steps in to make an interception, plays it across from McAllister, immediately under pressure. She goes back to Meyer. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. Trinity coming in number 21 in the preseason poll, winning their first game against McMurray, and as it stands on their way to a big win in the West region. Still a long way to go, and a lot of firepower in the Cowgirls squad as Stafford steps into another shot from distance. Haley Foley will hold comfortably. It's not something that Trinity did a lot of on Friday night, shooting from distance, shooting in general in the first half. And they're pretty efficient with the shots that they did take. Well, it looks like maybe a directive or maybe just born out of the confidence that came from the miscommunication in the Hardin-Simmons back line early in this game. Stafford plays it forward as Bosco's looking to toe the line. It's out for a Trinity throw from the Isom Memorial here at Paul McGinley Field. Stafford stands her ground, arrives at the feet of Bowers, who leaves it short of McAllister, just getting there in time. Taylor Campbell wants to put it in behind for Del Preti. Couldn't reach the Albuquerque native. Good possession at the moment for the home team. Stafford with her head up, finds Beal. It's back to Stafford, who's shielding the sun from her eyes. Meyer puts that one into midfield where Bosco tracks it down. Wide now for Emily Hayes. Hayes cuts it back for Bosco. And the clearance stays in play. Don't know if Singleton was too excited about having to track that one down. And eventually does run out in front of the Trinity bench. She takes the throw quickly. McAllister back to the transfer sophomore, Ashlyn Zingelman. The ball from Hayes. Bosco can't connect with Del Preti on this occasion. And Campbell's beaten to it by Ramirez on the far side, out for a Trinity throw. Taken quickly. Couldn't find anyone in the black shirt. Stafford into Bosco, and Campbell ran into a brick wall there and ended up sat in the bleachers. 2 more changes for the Cowgirls as Jorney Long and Gabby Aviles check in, and on the Trinity side, it's Maya Ozimi in for Cameron Beal, who will get the final 9 minutes of the half on the bench. We'll restart play with the Hardin-Simmons throw. Arevalo picks it up in midfield. Careless touch, and it's turned over to Trinity. A throw from the same spot. Bowers brings it down with her first touch, puts it across on the second. The cross too close to Foley. Rolled out for Mummer. Possession recovered by Emily Hayes. McAllister's got some space in midfield, wants the diagonal. As Campbell made the run. And again, Foley quick off her line to help out the back line. Restoring confidence between the goalie and the defender is going to be important. I think she's gone a long way to doing that, coming off the line and making some strong claims. Communication, of course, will be a key talking point whenever a breakdown such as what happened in the opening minutes of this game occurs. Ozemi forward to Bosco. Shields the ball away from Burrow. McAllister plays it wide for Stafford, who gives it back. Again, back with McAllister forward to Bowers. Brings it under her control and puts it down the line for Campbell. The clearance is under hit and Campbell gets a foot on it. And now she can turn away from the defender and win a throw. Stafford in for Bosco, dropped off for Meyer. Meyer looks for a direct service into the box. Brought down, and Ozemi will have a pop from distance. Tell you what, not bad contact from Maya Ozemi. Del Preti set it up, whether she intended to or not. I think she was looking to shoot herself before Ozemi took the shot. Foley's goal kick comes off Arevalo. Bowers won it back. Hayes applying the pressure high up the field. And Bowers working back to win it. The ball forward for Del Preti's not quite on the mark. Singleman turns and gets her head up. Looks for the ball in behind. Campbell and Bosco both nowhere near where it ended up. Last touch off the Cowgirls. It'll be another throw for Zingelman. Bounced over the head of Ozemi. Ozemi now looking to bring it under control. Drops off for Zingelman. Her pass off the right foot is off the mark. And chance maybe on the counterattack for Hardin-Simmons. That's too close to Stafford. Big coming together on the far side. Referee says no foul as Taylor Campbell dribbles clear. Del Preti cleared out as the collisions continue to escalate. This time the referee's whistle does come to stop proceedings. Del Preti body on the line there. I think she knew she would never be able to control that. Just got in between the defender and the ball at the last moment. And now we'll see what Ashlyn Zingelman has planned from the free kick. Still haven't seen Nia Shepard this season. She's been a regular over dead ball opportunities in years past. It's the newcomer now, Ashlyn Zingelman, transfer from UNT. Who's got the responsibility of setting up this free kick. She goes for goal and she gets under it. That'll be disappointing for the former member of the Mean Green.
In for Hardin-Simmons, number 18. Avery Scott, number 22, Chloe DeVore.
Avery Scott and Chloe DeVore into the game. They'll replace Journey Long and Caroline Burrow. Both teams using quite a few players here in the first half, dealing with the heat, looking to keep fresh legs on their starters for the second period. Hardin-Simmons throw with 3 minutes to go. Two Trinity defenders converge on the ball. McAllister comes away with it. Ozimi to Bowers down the line. And Bosco is always going to be a willing runner. She tracks it down. She was probably second favorite to get there. And the whistle goes against Trinity. And it gets Michaela Bosco. Don't see a ton in it there. Maybe something came after that replay to draw the referee's whistle. Ozemi wins the header. Comes to the feet of Del Preti, laid off for Bowers. Bowers into Bosco. The idea was there as Del Preti made the run down the outside. Pass just overhit. All the scoring so far coming in the opening 16 minutes of play as Hardin-Simmons got off to a nightmare start, an own goal in the 2nd minute. And Trinity followed that up with a CC Hendricks penalty in the 11th. The deficit was halved when Hayden Abor turned in a Randy Dennison cross in the 17th minute. And that's where we stand at the moment, approaching the 1 minute mark here in the first half. In the heavyweight matchup of Division III teams in Texas. Two storied, successful programs.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Battling it out here in the September sun. Good tackle from Stafford. As we're approaching 50 seconds to go. And it's going to be a free kick for Hardin-Simmons. This should be the last chance for either side here in the first half. And really no reason not to throw everybody forward and take this with the last kick before the buzzer. A few stay back. Everybody else on the edge of the Trinity penalty area. It's sent in. Finley off her line. Claims it comfortably. And no intention to counterattack for the sophomore goalkeeper. Trinity will take the lead into the halftime break.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
An action-packed first 20 or so minutes. And then I think the heat exhaustion set in. Here's the own goal to start. The Trinity chance came as CC Hendricks hit the bar. And Wickham won the penalty in the aftermath. Hendricks tucked it away with composure. And then at the other end, here's the Abar goal in response. Nothing for Finley to do about it as Abar beat Zingelman to the ball at the near post. And that's where we stand at the moment. We've got 15 minutes for coaches to make adjustments. And then we'll decide our winner in the second half. 15 minutes of halftime. We'll be right back. You're watching Trinity and Hardin-Simmons on the Tiger Network. Just one change from the starting 11 for Trinity, as Michaela Bosco has done enough to impress, and she'll keep her place on the field. But it'll be out wide on the left in place of Elena Wickham, whose biggest contribution so far to this game was winning the penalty for Trinity's, as it stands, go-ahead goal. Tigers had 60% possession in the first half, took 10 shots, 5 on target. The visiting Hardin-Simmons Cowgirls took 4 shots, had 3 on target, and of course started the game horribly with a disastrous own goal. They'll look to start stronger here in the second half. You hear the energy from both benches as we're back underway here at Paul McGinley Field. Bragging rights on the line here in Texas, as well as regional ranking points. As early on, it runs out of play ahead of Bosco. A goal and assist in the opening game for Michaela Bosco. And if I had to point to a couple of the new Trinity Tigers this season, I would say she, as well as McAllister, have been really impressive. And of course at the back, Zingelman, who we already knew, came in with the pedigree of Division I, University of North Texas. Has been rock solid so far in maroon and black. Meyer coughs that one up, but Bosco able to get on it, only for a moment. Here is Zingelman in the midfield for Beal. Meyer goes all the way back to Joey Finley, who's beaten once in the first half for the first time this season. Katie Ward brings it under control. So difficult now to dispossess as she's turned and started running towards the Hardin-Simmons back line. Spread wide for Horner into the feet of Sheridan. Out for a Trinity throw. Walsh swings it in with the left foot to Cameron Beal at the top of the box. Chance to shoot! And she picks out the top corner, and it's ecstasy here at Paul McGinley Field for Trinity. 2 minutes into the second half, they double the lead. Cameron Beal's first goal in a couple of seasons. Her 12th in Trinity colors. And what a strike it was. Assist will go to Molly Sheridan, who kept the play alive. And once again, it's a dream start to the half for Trinity, who come flying out of the blocks and restore the 2-goal lead that they had lost in the 17th minute when Abar cut the lead in half. Hardin-Simmons work it down the line. It's intended for Abar, never reached her. You see to the left of half field pretty much all Hardin-Simmons fans who made the trip down. They're going to have to cheer their team on as they come from 2 goals behind once again. Trinity looking to add more as Bosco launches it forward. Molly Sheridan through for Madison Horner. That one gobbled up by Haley Foley. Another warning sign for Trinity. They're looking to add a 4th. Well, I got to talk to Coach Harrison before this weekend via email, luckily for me. He talked to me about the different options they have in terms of scoring, and of course they don't ever count on an own goal like we saw in the first half, but he mentioned Cece Hendricks and Cameron Beal both. And Beal, who was first team All-Region in 2019 when she scored 9, has been playing more of a defensive role according to Coach Harrison. And she stepped right back into her shooting boots on that occasion, firing Trinity back in front by 2. Stafford dragged to the ground there, but referee didn't have to blow the whistle as it bounced through to the goalie. And that one intended for Horner. Sails over her head, just at the halfway line. Dennison tackled by Stafford. Good strength shown by the sophomore defender. And now Ward puts it in behind for Bosco, where she can stretch her legs, show her pace. Bosco past the defender with ease. 3 to her right as she slips it across. Emergency defending from Mummert to block the cross. Now Beal. Horner with the first time cross. Dowell controls it and sends it down the field. Zingelman won it back, but her pass was intercepted only momentarily by the Cowgirls as Zingelman steps back into it and now puts it forward. Moreno drops it off for Maddox. Maddox goes inside of Horner. And not inside of Beal. But gets locked up with her opposite number 15. And isn't happy that the referee pointed against Cameron Beal, and I kind of agree. That looks like it should be a foul Trinity's way. In any case, there'll be a chance for the Cowgirls to put it in the area. Mercy Mummert, the easy to spot white headband on today. Everybody lined up on the edge of the Trinity 18-yard box. Lofts it in just to the edge of the area, flicked on, and into the arms of Finley. No runners going beyond the initial flick. Finley doesn't get enough air under the punt, but it's perfectly placed onto the foot of Katie Ward, who's now put it in behind for Madison Horner. A chance for Madison Horner to add the 4th. And it's into the top corner. Created by Katie Ward, finished off by Madison Horner, and with 38 minutes to go, Trinity lead by 3. And sometimes these are difficult. Sometimes you have too much time to think about it. And as Horner almost slipped, it worked to her advantage. She caught the goalkeeper out at the near post. And then Coach Wood's going to shift his tactics here. Go back to a 4-2-3-1 according to what I'm hearing down to my left. But it's the seniors connecting for Trinity and doing the damage because Katie Ward sets up Madison Horner. Moments after Cameron Beal herself scored the 3rd. Here's another one of the Tiger seniors. Cece Hendricks comes away with the ball. Flicked on by Sheridan for Horner to chase. She does so at a leisurely pace as it runs out of play ahead of anyone. Horner steps in front and wins the header, forces another throw in for the Cowgirls. We have 38 minutes to get back into this game, but they may be looking at it the opposite way. They've got 38 minutes still in this game, and all the momentum is with the home team at the moment. Another header won by the Tigers. Another throw-in coming for Hardin-Simmons. Walsh applying the pressure here. And the Cowgirls forced to clear. A-Bar beaten to it by Meyer, who wins it with a strong header. And Hendricks trips up her opposite number. And the Cowgirls will have a free kick. Still bringing energy off the bench. Still bringing the belief. At the moment, they need more than belief. They need goals, at least 3 of them. As at least in the last decade or so, this is the most Trinity have scored on Hardin-Simmons. There's a couple 3-2 games at the height of this rivalry in the NCAA tournament. Never 4. And with plenty of fifth-year seniors returning for Hardin-Simmons, this was not at all what they would have expected. Of course, they lost an All-American and their goalkeeper, but replaced her with what Coach Marcus Wood called a special shot stopper in Haley Foley. Sheridan onto the head of Ward. Trinity going direct that time, and it ends up in the hands of the Hardin-Simmons goalie. Hendricks called for a foul. She won the header. You saw her reaction to the call. Still protesting with the official. This one just inside the halfway line. Almost everybody in white heading forward to try and contest this one. Again, Mummert will take. Plenty of air underneath it. And Zingelman didn't deal with it initially. It's out on the right wing for Hardin-Simmons, but Bosco fires it off. The Cowgirls player and behind for a goal kick. Good work from the first year. Avery Scott, the San Antonio, Texas native, playing in her hometown. Back into the game for Hardin-Simmons, replacing Caroline Poole. Trinity goes short from the goal kick, finding Meyer. Stafford. Heavy touch from Stafford. Possession turned over, but she got enough on it. Put it out for a throw, and she can retreat. Last touch off A-bar, and the ball rolls over the line. Stafford now with it in her hands. Beal forward to Ward. Ward on the turn. Katie Ward still looking for her first goal of the season. She got an assist moments ago on the Tiger fourth. I don't think she'll be satisfied with that. Someone who got 13 goals, 4 assists last season. She's still looking to open her account, and she's made the run here. But Moreno got back and put it out for a corner. And it's Stafford who goes across to take the corner, perhaps surprisingly, considering she stands at 5'10", one of the tallest players on the field. Coach Harrison always likes to have his outside defenders taking these type of set pieces, whether it's free kicks or corners. She swings it in towards the back post, plenty on it, and Ward keeps it alive. She tried to, putting it back across and onto the roof of the net. So Bosco and Horner replaced by Campbell and Hayes. Horner scoring the Trinity fourth goal. (15 shots, 8 on target at the moment for Trinity, who are leading 60-40 in the possession battle in the first half. You got to think that trend has continued, particularly in the Hardin-Simmons half of the field. Stafford gets a foot in. Beal rises highest and wins the header. Sheridan lays it off for Walsh. Walsh now drives at the defense, slips it in behind for Katie Ward on the turn. Back to her left foot. Katie Ward gets the shot away. The flag's up against Alex Walsh on the rebound. And the crowd cheering one of their own as the ball heads into the stands to be thrown back on. Beal tracks it down from the goal kick. Whistle goes against Trinity. Coach Valdespino right now protesting for a few yards on the free kick as she implies that the Cowgirl is taking it a little bit further forward. Here it is sent in. Settled down and cleared away by Taylor Campbell for Walsh and Ward to chase. Stafford pokes it out of play, and they'll make 3 changes now, the Cowgirls. Ramirez, Thompson, and Rachel Bean re-enter the game, all having played in the first half. Bean from the start. First team All-Region a year ago. She was a All-ASC forward last year, which was interesting to see considering she's been a defender today and a defender on the roster. Maybe just a different role last season. Or a misprint on the press release. Either way. Got all conference honors, all region as well. She's got 22 goals and 12 assists and 62 appearances for HSU, so certainly not a record that indicates a defender. That's where she's playing today. Although it looks like she's now taken position in midfield, so maybe just versatile, Rachel Bean. Thompson bodied off the ball by Bailey Meyer. Goes all the way back to Finley. We're under 30 minutes to go, and Trinity currently riding a comfortable 4-1 lead. 2 goals in the second half coming from Cameron Beal and Madison Horner. To add to a Cece Hendricks penalty in the first half and an own goal. Finley not in a rush here. Sends the Tigers up the field. No challenge for the long ball off the goal kick. Campbell loses the header that time to Ramirez. Stafford gets the loose ball and puts it into the channel for Sheridan. Being locked up with Cameron Beal, and I think Beal will find some satisfaction in that whistle going her way. As it was similar to an earlier incident that went against her. Stafford going to send this one in. The only one that stays back is Zingelman. Trinity sending numbers forward to try and grab a 5th goal. Ball in, looked under hit, but it's been kept alive by Campbell at the top of the box, although the whistle goes against Trinity here. And the referee blowing his whistle just to calm down. It's like Molly Sheridan, who's incensed about something. Change of goalkeepers is on the way for Hardin-Simmons. And Randy Dennison also set to come back in. We'll see if it's 4-1 when they return, as it's down in the corner off the right wing for Hardin-Simmons. Trinity deal with it well, and Zingelman sends it clear onto the feet of Katie Ward. Takes a bump. The ball stays stuck to her foot. As Coach Harrison described it in the build-up to this game, it's always stuck to her foot until she's ready to release it or strike it. Great turn from Taylor Campbell on the wing, but she runs in to a second defender in Madeline Dowell. Here's Dowell on the ball, harried by Taylor Campbell. Ramirez steps into the middle and puts it into the channel where nobody was running beyond. Emma Thompson had checked short. And that was it for Hardin-Simmons. Their goal scorer now amongst the subs, ready to come back in, Hayden Aber. Advantage played by the referee after a handball. Aravalo turns away from one defender, but her pass is off target. And Meyer almost cleared out by Emma Thompson. Trinity go quickly. Zingelman perfectly into the feet of the forward Sheridan, and that's enough for Emma Thompson. Couple hard fouls in quick succession, and she ends up in the book. Hendricks taking the contact on that one. Here's the replay. Yeah, Thompson never getting to that one. That looks born out of frustration. And in response to that yellow card, as you may have heard, Caroline Poole now going to join the substitutes and come on in place of Emma Thompson. Long wait ahead of the free kick, which Bailey Meyer ultimately takes short. Zingelman sends it in. Katie Ward takes it down with her first touch. She's ruled offside. Crowd didn't like that decision too much, as Ward did well just to bring it out of the sky. It looks like she did go just about a step too soon. Good call from the linesman. Ramirez in the midfield for Bean. Good tackle from Stafford. Has Trinity going the other way. Taylor Campbell for Walsh. Darting run from Alex Walsh. For the reverse pass to try and throw everybody off. That deflected on its way through. It's out for a Trinity throw, just about halfway line for Bailey Meyer. Zingelman onto the chest of Sheridan. Good hold-up play from the forward, lays it off again for Zingelman, whose next pass is off the mark for Beal. Trinity will track back. Dowell lays it off for Ramirez. Some space for Maddox. Immediately closed down by Beal. These two have had a few tussles in midfield today. Maddox ends up on the ground. As Beal backs up and heads back into position. You're always going to know when you're in a game against Cameron Beal. Happens to be the two number 15s going at it today. Good build-up play here from the Cowgirls. A loose touch from Michaela Sabrasula. It brings an end to the attack. And here is a chance to sub the goalkeepers. Kendall Dowling. Hayden Abor, Caroline Poole, and number 10, Randy Dennison. The 4 changes. So it'll be an opportunity for Kendall Dowling, the sophomore from Denton, Texas. Tough outing for Haley Foley, one of the most difficult of her career at the collegiate level. To concede such an own goal in the opening moments was always going to put her behind the 8 ball and down on confidence perhaps. She made a couple of good saves in the first half and really was left with nothing to do on the 2 Trinity goals here in the second. Mercy Mummert have another chance from a free kick. Gets air underneath this one and nearly broke for Dowell in the area. See if we can get a replay. It looked like a good opportunity. As Rachel Bean is here replaced by Gabby Aviles. Let's see from the free kick if we've got a good angle on it. Cameron Beal, disruptive. Made it difficult for Dowell, whose header ended up way off target. Approaching what we assume will be the hydration break here soon. Took one in the first half, a little bit later on. Inside 20 minutes remaining. Now let's just have the referee's discretion. Hardin-Simmons take a throw in. Into the feet of Dowell. And it looks like we will now take that hydration break. 20 minutes, 30 seconds to go. And the number 21 Trinity Tigers are holding their home soil. And they're holding it well. 4-1, they lead on the Tiger Network. Here's a look at the Cameron Beal goal, perfectly placed in the top corner. And the Trinity fourth as Ward put it into the path of Horner, and again, this time into the near post. Dispatched with a plum. Those are your second half goals. And that's why we're here with a 4-1 advantage for the Tigers. Stafford can't keep that throw in play. See if she gets another chance at it. No, it'll be a Hardin-Simmons throw. Oh, moment of indecision as Stafford came across. That's Dennison's throw to take. Not exactly the best throw from her either. Foul from Taylor Campbell. Latest in a string of free kicks from just around this range. Got a new taker and Jessica Boldeno. Boldeno can't get it past Taylor Campbell, was looking to go short. In the end, waste another opportunity and maybe gives Trinity a chance on the counter. Flag stays down as Ward was towing across the back line. And now she's driving at that back line. Into the feet of Sheridan. Sheridan, some space, 30 yards from goal, lays it off for Katie Ward. The two strikers combine. Played wide now for Kira Stafford. Take the defender on 1v1, gets onto her favored left foot. Puts it in behind for Sheridan, who can't turn, but it's out for a corner. Bailey Meyer, the only one that stays back for Trinity. Nobody up for HSU. All hands on deck. So they zonally mark this corner kick. Sent in, it arrives at the top of the box for Campbell. Sends it goalwards to make it another chance at it as it's pinging around the top of the 18. Stafford steps in and Beal drops it off to Meyer. Walsh on the turn. Too quick for Poole. It's sent towards the back post for Campbell. She applies the pressure and wins a corner. Stafford again across the take. See some of the Trinity substitutes. Looks like Reese Wallace and Michaela Bosco at the closest view of this corner kick as it's sent in and met by Katie Ward at the back post. Whose volley redirected it more than anything else. Didn't have enough power to be considered a true shot. And it was headed clear by Madeline Dowell. Now Alex Walsh will be replaced by Cassie Bowers in the number 10 position, furthest forward of the midfield. Hendricks will be the next to be replaced. This rotation that we've seen now across the first two games. Meredith McAllister is ready to come in at the next opportunity. Hendricks got the second Trinity goal back in the 11th minute of today's game. Zingelman whips one in towards the top of the box. Emily Hayes working towards the corner flag on the far side. Not giving up on this play as the long ball was controlled for a moment by Gabby Aviles and put out for a Trinity throw. And McAllister will now replace Cece Hendricks.
Cowgirls, number 15, Kaylee Maddox.
Kaylee Maddox, the center midfielder who started today's game, comes back in for Caroline Poole. It's a battle for the ball down the left wing. Bowers comes away with it and takes a heavy touch and runs into the path of Mummert. Zingelman down the line for Hayes, onto her favored right foot, gets some whip on this service across, comes off the head of Campbell. Ends up with a Hardin-Simmons throw. Back with Ramirez. Now Boldenau is put under pressure by Sheridan and forced into putting it out of play. Just a little too lax at the back, but it was the last touch off Sheridan actually for a Trinity throw. Now Stafford called for what can only be deemed a truly ticky-tack foul from the official, who to his credit was well positioned. Subsequent free kick, headed clear twice by Cameron Beal. Let's play a bit of head volley here between the two teams. Another one getting a foot on it until now. As Stafford turns out of pressure and drops it off for Meyer. Ball at the feet of Joey Finley. It's a well-placed ball out to Hayes. She can't hold it. Then she comes away from the subsequent tackle with the ball. And with runners up alongside her, McAllister go all the way home under the pressure from Dennison. This time Finley goes long towards Bowers again. It's pinpoint from the goalkeeper. McAllister wins the header. Bowers touches it past the defender. Bowers has got Katie Ward ahead of her. Look to use the option of Molly Sheridan. We track down the loose ball and it goes down under the contact. And this will be a free kick in shooting range, probably for Katie Ward. Yep, she wants the ball right away. This will be a good chance for her to open her account here in 2021. Scored from a free kick early on last season. That'll keep its place on the Trinity Women's Soccer highlight reel for some time to come. Let's see if she can find the back of the net here. 4 in the wall. Trinity's number 4, Katie Ward, takes the strike, and it cannons into the barrier made up of those 4 Hardin-Simmons Cowgirls. Kira Stafford now replaced by Reese Wallace, the right defender of the 3. And Michaela Sabrasula goes on to the right side for Hayden Abar. Got the lone Hardin-Simmons goal in this game. Del Preti replaces Katie Ward after that free kick chance. And you'd assume with the result beyond doubt at the moment, that'll be the last we see of Katie Ward today. She's got an assist to her name, so she's off the mark in that respect. And on in her place is Teddy Del Preti, who assisted against McMurray. Chance for her to run with Molly Sheridan, the starting striker, at least for now.
For the Cowgirls, number 28, Emma Thompson. Also in for Trinity, number 14, Emma Everett. Then for Hardin-Simmons,
Emma Everett will replace
Mackenzie Moreno.
Taylor Campbell. And Mackenzie Moreno is back into the game for Kaylee Maddox. Throw taken by Mummert. Meyer sends it back out into touch. Everts brings her opposite number to the ground here. Randy Dennison wins the free kick, the senior out of Abilene. a little bit far out, but with the current state of the scoreline, Hardin-Simmons might consider a shot from here. Instead, it's lofted into the penalty area, defended by Reese Wallace, her first involvement since coming on. The follow-up ends up in the arms of Trinity's number 0, Joey Finley. It was called upon in the first half to clean up a loose back pass and did well, making both saves that were required. Besides that, he's taken quite a few goal kicks and watched 4 Tiger goals go in at the other end. Bowers puts that one in behind. Looked like a lost cause, but Del Preti didn't give up on it. She's still in pursuit here. As Beal wins it back in midfield. Here is Teddy Del Preti. Singleman for Beal, laid off for McAllister. Here's Everts. Wanted to find the slip ball in behind for Sheridan. Intercepted on its way through. It's a different role for Emma Everts. Playing as a right midfielder here. Usually seen her in the middle of the park. Good work on the far side from Hayes to find Bowers. Now Cassie Bowers puts it in behind for Del Preti. Kendall Dowling coming off the line. Perfect timing from the substitute goalkeeper. Hardin-Simmons work it down the field, and they'll have a throw, not until after both teams make a change.
Entering for Trinity, number 27, Michaela Bosco.
Bosco now in for Sheridan. And that strike partnership, which has been very effective on the early season showing, is restored up top between Bosco and Del Preti. Very much the present, but also the future. Trinity will have to look at life without the likes of Katie Ward after this season. Bosco's shown early signs of being able to replicate some of that success. It's well worked from Trinity on the far side. Bowers now in a physical battle to try and keep it. And again, both teams will make one change. Ella Ferruzzi in for Cameron Beal, who will get the applause of the crowd that she deserves. Scoring a goal today and being as disruptive as ever for the opposition in midfield. Industrious hard worker, and today a goal scorer. On the other side, Jorney Long in for Mercy Mummert. Another Trinity throw taken by Emily Hayes. It's in behind for Bosco, who heads it on. Del Preti tracks it down and sends the ball across. That'll be comfortable for Dowling. Six minutes to go here in San Antonio. And no signs of a late comeback at the moment for the Cowgirls, who have tried with all their might here in the second half, but the result was beyond doubt when the fourth goal from Madison Horner hit the back of the net in the 52nd minute. Now Bosco slides it back across for Del Preti. Trinity go close to adding the fifth. Another pair of subs opposite. One for either team. Good defending that time from Jenna Kirk. Scored the unfortunate own goal in the first half, but got a foot in there, and now she'll get a rest. She's replaced. And we'll have a Trinity debut for Abby Schneider. She replaces Emily Hayes as the left midfielder. Ferruzzi sets it for Wallace. Brings it under control with her first touch. Has it taken away on the second. She's back on it here. Laid off for Myers. As expected, played every minute of opening weekend here for Trinity. I believe she's the only outfield player to do so. 4v1 here. And Trinity have enough numbers back to deal with it as Emma Thompson was leading the charge all alone. Singleman into midfield for Ferruzzi, off to Bailey Meyer. Maybe an ill-advised pass there from the junior center back. Doesn't usually make errors like that. The teammate's able to deal with it, and Ferruzzi puts it away from danger. It's back into Hardin-Simmons half now. Wallace meets the long ball with her left foot. Doesn't get much behind the clearance. Cowgirls regain possession. Now in the Trinity half. It's well weighted for Sabrasula. Here's Sabrasula now, coming all the way across the field to the left wing. She swings across in. Bailey Meyer meets it with her head. Throw in taken short. Now the cross ends up in the arms of Joey Finley. She stoops low to catch it. Trinity fans chant that they want more. Bosco determined to give it to him. Here's Michaela Bosco in behind, straight from the goalkeeper's punt and straight into the goalkeeper's arms at the other end. The pace of Michaela Bosco too much to deal with on the punt from Joey Finley, who nearly had an assist to her name. If Bosco could have finished that off. Foul was against Trinity. You see a full 3-yard or so head start for the defender. Bosco just blows by and gets a foot on the ball. Dowling able to hold it. Sean Welson's coming off the bench for HSU. Three changes now for Hardin-Simmons to see this game out. Avery Scott, Chloe DeVore, and Caroline Burrow. Hear the chanting from the Trinity fans. Been a welcome addition to today's game on a hot Sunday afternoon here on opening weekend. It's the 6th of 7 games taking place at Paul McGinley Field over this Labor Day holiday, starting on Friday. It's a neutral game between Southwestern and Willamette on the men's side, and then followed up by the Trinity women's soccer opener, defeating McMurray 3-0. And here's maybe another chance for Bosco, with the clearance as well measured by DeVore. Trinity men's soccer finished up the night with a big 5-2 victory over Occidental.
1 minute, 1 minute.
And then we had 2 men's games today, with Trinity winning 2-0 over Willamette. Southwestern scoring a late penalty to win 3-2 over Oxy, and then tomorrow the final game of the holiday weekend, a Monday matinee between Willamette and Occidental College. 2 West Coast teams do battle here in the state of Texas. Abby Schneider, first chance to make something happen in the attack. She turns away from the defender. Her cross is blocked. McAllister and Schneider looking to keep this one alive in the corners. Got 20 seconds to go. And what is really a historic victory for Trinity. They've never looked this dominant against Hardin-Simmons. It's 3 straight wins against the Cowgirls. It's a 3-goal margin of victory today in San Antonio. And even without their head coach, Trinity Tigers women's soccer continue their strong run from 2020 into 2021. Goals from Cece Hendricks, Hayden Aber, Cameron Beal, and Madison Horner, and an own goal from Jenna Kirk, which opened the scoring way back in the 2nd minute. See the final stats on your screen. Thank you for joining us here today on Labor Day Sunday, and we hope you'll have a good holiday tomorrow. Maybe catch Willamette and Occidental on the Tiger Network if you'd like. Here's a look at the opening unfortunate own goal for Jenna Kirk, a miscommunication with Haley Foley, the goalkeeper. Then Cece Hendricks rattled the bar. Katie Ward kept it alive, and Elena Wickham drew the contact for the penalty, which Hendricks dispatched. And at the other end, the lone glimpse of hope for Hardin-Simmons as Hayden Aber put that into the back of the net. And here's Cameron Beal picking it up at the top of the box and putting it where no goalkeeper can reach it before Madison Horner added the exclamation point to a resounding victory that will be heard around Division III women's soccer. Trinity are the team to beat in the West. Thank you very much and have a good Sunday.